What turns you on?
Oh my God, so much. This is actually something I want to clear up. I feel like I wrote this one song called Bloom, right? And it's about bottoming. And the lyric is, I bloom just for you. And people took that and ran as like, I think in the sort of consciousness of gay people, I'm like some crazy power bottom or something, which is just not the case. And I just wanted to put that out there.
Is that annoying that you have to clarify that?
No.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
Welcome to High Low with EmRata.
Thanks.
I'm so happy you're here.
I'm so happy to be here.
I've been watching so many videos of you. It's scary.
Oy vey.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. It's been beautiful.
Okay, that's good.
Well, congrats on everything. I'm so happy for you. How does it feel?
It feels really crazy, actually.
Yeah.
Like I've released a lot of music and this feels very different and just like new.
How so?
Well, it's just weird. It's been like, you know, I've been making music. I got signed when I was 18. I'm 28 now. And it just feels like kind of random to me that this is like popping off in the way that it is. Like I'm so happy. But just kind of, you know, I think like I sort of have always felt very safe with my audience that I've had, you know, for a really long time. We like grown up together and everything like that. And this just feels like it's going way like wider than that.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily feel like I've done anything super different. Like I've always made music that I'm really proud of and then like made visuals that I'm really proud of and excited about and everything. And for whatever reason, this one has just kind of like felt different. And
Did you
I don't know
feel
why.
kind of a build though? I mean, your career is really amazing because I feel like since you started making YouTube videos, there's been this audience that's grown and grown organically. Did you not feel kind of like this, the last couple of months between the Idol and everything else, like having this new sense of exposure?
I guess so. Like, I guess, you know, I don't know when it was. To be honest, I think the moment that I felt like an actual shift was when I went to the Met Gala for the second time. Because the first time I went, I was like, I felt like the little kid at the party or something like that and like didn't really know anyone and stuff like that. And then when I went the second time, I got just as nervous as the first time. But then I walked inside and I realized that like I actually know a lot of these people now. And it's been, you know, like...
You're like, oh my God, I'm one of them.
Like, no, I would never say that.
No,
but like,
I know.
I was like, why do I actually feel kind of calm and like chill? And I think, yeah, just like kind of building confidence over time. And also everything is really, really fucking scary when you do it for the first time. And now this is my third album. And like, I just feel like I've had time to kind of like adjust. And it's been really gradual for me. Like I've never really felt like an overnight shift. And just over time, you know, like I've had a couple moments over the last few years where I've turned around and been like, oh, things are really, really, really different than they used to be. And that's really cool. It's nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I feel stressed when I think about people who it did happen overnight. I'm like, oh my God.
You're so
like,
unprepared.
Someone like Billie Eilish or something where it like blew the fuck up and she was so young. I'm like, damn, how did you get through that?
A lot of people like that come on the show. And I have to say, there are exceptions where I'm like, I don't know if you know Maddie Ziegler. I was like so impressed by how well she has turned into a woman and like, you know, handled the fame that came to her when she was so young. Like she was a literal child. And then there's other people where I'm like, oh my God, you're so not okay. And it's really, it's just, you really see it. And it's really hard. I want to talk to you more about your new music video, Rush, obviously. I watched it. I saw the clip on TikTok first of the dancing and the choreography. And I saw something on Twitter that was like, that it's Slavic.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. Can you tell?
Well, so...
what was the inspiration for the video? All of that.
So the video I made with Gordon Von Steiner. Have you shot with him?
I haven't.
Okay, Slay.
Not a Slay. I need to shoot with him.
You need to shoot with him.
Yeah.
He's like a fashion director. He never made a music video before. And we have just been friends forever. And he's creative directing the whole album. And so it's really fun. I've never had a creative director before. And we were talking about Rush and what it is. And I knew that like the thing that kind of stuck out to me was my friend, my best friend Leland, who I wrote the song with. He was like, we were talking about what should be the first single. And he was like, go make a fucking hot video. And he's like, this is you coming out with your dick swinging.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, let's just make the thing that I would have like dreamt to make without like censoring myself in any sort of way. So, you know, in talking about it with Gordon, it was just like, this just feels like the ultimate, you know, party. I was thinking a lot about like in Australia, we have these like bush doofs, which is like a doof, doof, doof in the bush, you know, and it's just like these like, sometimes it's under a bridge or whatever, or sometimes it's like in a forest. And partying in Australia had been so inspiring to me. And then we just wanted to kind of throw this ultimate sort of, the ultimate party. And we went to Berlin to do it because Gordon was like, okay, well, if we're going to party, we should go party in Berlin. So it was me, Stuart Weinkoff and Gordon, and we went and we're all just like mates. And we were in Berlin for like a week and filmed the video. And it was so nice. You know, it was a really, I knew that it just had to be real. Like I knew that it was going to look gorgeous because it was Gordon and Stuart. But it was really important to me that it had to just be completely genuine. Yeah. And so we really were just like partying and filming it. Like a lot of the setups that you see, some of them are obviously set up, but a lot of them were just like kind of put us all in a little bathroom and let us party. And like, for example, the makeout at the end was kind of like spontaneous. And
how did that happen?
It just happened. And then I was like, damn, am I about to get like cancelled for not asking before? Right. But it just felt very real. It was like, there was a vibe and you know, he was like up in my face and stuff like that. So it made sense in the moment. But yeah, it was just like real.
That's cool. Something I like about it a lot is like when you said the dick swinging thing, I feel like, you know, we're all used to seeing pop stars, female pop stars sexualize themselves, be sexualized, obviously just made a show about it. Right. But I think queer artists, it's really different. What has it been like to like be hot and sexy and talk about sex and sexualize yourself as a queer man?
Well, I feel like I've always sort of enjoyed doing that. You know, it's been a part of my like visual world for I think a really long time. And this one though, I think it just felt, you know, I was like talking to my friends and I'm like, you know, oh, is this too much for the video? Is this too much for the video? But like, we're going to parties every weekend where there's like a dark room and, you know, what is happening in there and is happening in there. And I love that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I think, you know, cruising is like one of the coolest things in the world to me. And it's like, it's such a part of like my people's history out of absolute necessity. And it's just like, to me, that's such a showing of like resilience and strength. And I think I feel a lot of power in my sexuality and in my like community sexuality. And of course there's like, you know, there's people who are like, this is not all that we are and everything. And I'm like, oh, I know, but this is really fun and it feels really good. And it's like one of the forms of connection that I wanted to explore on the album because it's been something that I've been exploring in my life. And so, yeah, I knew that I wanted it to feel hot and sweaty and summer and just like sexy.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like a celebration, not just in the aspect of like you guys were partying, but also a celebration of like gay sex.
Yeah.
Which is beautiful. And like we talk so much about queer joy and like everything, and people talk about the emphasis, but it's nice to see something that's like a artistic endeavor expressing that.
Totally.
Yeah.
And also just like, I mean, the idea of community, like I think really just like the thing that I fell in love with the most over the last 2.5 years or 3 years or whatever since like being single is my community and like my friends. And so that was the thing that I wanted to celebrate. And it was like, you know, I have just like the coolest friends and I think they're all so beautiful and so hot and so like effortlessly cool. And so I just wanted to celebrate that and kind of like recreate that feeling.
With popularity, of course, comes criticism, and like I follow pop bass and everyone on Twitter. News. Yes, literally my NPR. Right. And they were like covering so much about the video. How's that felt to like talk about body diversity and everything? What has that experience been like for you?
First thing is I definitely have, I think, developed a thicker skin, especially over the last like couple of months to the conversation. And I think because, I don't know, I used to think that like I I really wanted to just make everyone happy. And I was like super scared that people were going to say something negative or whatever, or like critique something. And now I'm just way more chill about it, I think, because of having kind of experienced it in a couple of ways. But with that, I rewatched the video with that in mind, you know, having like read the critique. And I was like, oh, I get what they're saying. I do get what they're saying. You know, I think that the video, the cast actually was really diverse. I think, you know, in the edit, there could have been definitely more moments showing, you know, different bodies. And yeah, I kind of like spoke about it to Billboard, and I said it wasn't a thought, which, while being true, I'm sure kind of like is shitty. And I know that that's like my, you know, skinny privilege, because I'm like, I just didn't think about it. It wasn't something that was in my mind. And you know, I think that people know that this is not like a systemic kind of thing. Like my last video before this, Angel Baby, I had all kinds of bodies and stuff, and I just kind of missed it on this one. And yeah, so I heard the critique, and I don't know, I get it.
Yeah, it's such a tough balance between not between protecting yourself and being like, I can't listen to negative feedback, and then also taking the notes.
Well, that's the thing. It felt like a note. Like it didn't feel like anyone was like kind of attacking me, because I know, like, you know, I know who I am, and I know that. So it didn't like get to me in that way at all. It was more just like, oh, fair enough.
Right. Like representation when you're making an artwork is like,
yeah,
it is something you have to actually be intentional about.
Totally. And also, it's been really interesting to read like the discourse around it and what people are saying, you know, the kind of conversations that it sparked about, like, well, what is your role as an artist? You know, is your role to represent everyone in everything that you make? And I don't know what the answers are. And I will say I do think that queer artists are held to a higher standard, because and that makes sense, you know, because I think it's like, if you've been the marginalized community, you would expect that they would have more empathy and understanding for other marginalized communities, or, you know. And so I get it. It's a very interesting conversation.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's actually in many ways a compliment when there's a controversy. It means that you made something that's interesting,
right.
And that enough people are looking at and analyzing to decide what it means about the world we live in right now, which is exciting.
Totally.
And music videos don't normally do that.
Right.
Like, they don't.
Yeah, I mean, I am really, really excited that like people are talking about the video as much as they are, because for the longest time it's been like, oh, music videos are dead. That's what I've heard in a lot of like meetings and stuff like that. And so I'm really happy that like a visual for the music that I'm making is kind of like just resonating. I think the visuals were so important. I mean, even just like the stills that I saw that you were posting leading up to it, and then the clips on TikTok that I saw, like I hadn't even watched the video until yesterday when I was like researching for this, and I was like, okay, cool. Like I feel like I knew the vibe before I even necessarily knew the sound, which is cool. And I think that's a good way of utilizing the media that we do have. Totally. So you mentioned that you've been single for the last 3 years, right? I think it's been 3 years, like roughly. Yeah. I just wanted to hear you talk more about that, because I've been single for about a year. And I read something where you were talking about like appreciating different kinds of love, because when you were in a relationship, you kind of only knew this like one really intimate closeness. And I wanted to hear like what your experience has been like being alone and like finding different ways to connect to people. Yeah, so I was really, really like heartbroken when I first became single. And it was I had this like really, really, really beautiful relationship. And you know, I still really care about that person and everything like that. And it was just like it was tough. And so I think for me, having to, because I was pretty like shattered, you know, like it wasn't fun. And so I just, you know, kind of woke up and I was like, okay, shit, I'm alone. And I took some time to kind of just like chill on that. And then slowly but surely I started to kind of like have these experiences, and I had always been a relationship person, like a long relationship person. I've had, 2 really long relationships. And so I started to explore like, okay, well, what's that going to be like to not be in one of those? And I promised myself at least a year of being single. And it's been like over 3 now. But really, I think about this like one guy so much. We met on an app and we were like, gonna hook up, right? That was the vibe. It was like a no strings attached hookup. But we went for a drink before because like it was just sort of like a formality almost to like meet and see that, we were vibing and kind of like give each other the opportunity to be like, you know what, I'm actually not feeling this and whatever. That's something I actually fucking love about like being queer is I feel like in general our approach to sex is just kind of more open because of, the way that we grew up and everything. Like I've had so many hookups where afterwards you're like, thank you so much. That was so fun. And it almost just feels like this like exchange where you both know exactly what it is. And that can feel really, really nice. And so this was
like having a beautiful conversation with someone or a great dance.
Exactly. Or like even like getting a massage or something. It sort of feels like I don't know. Yeah. It's like this really nice exchange without like the shame and the baggage, I think. And, that takes a lot of work to get there, but if you can, it's awesome. Anyway, so I was going to go hook up with this person and we did. He came back to my house after the drink and we hooked up and then we were lying in bed and I remember the words exactly because it was like, it felt like a very strange like sentence. It sounded like something out of a movie, but he was like, this is one of life's greatest pleasures. And I was like, what is? And he was like, no, well, because he had asked me if he could sleep over and it was the first time that I was having a sleepover, post my ex. And he was like, no, well, even if I never see you again, we are like sharing this one night and this one moment and we can, connect in this way. And he was like, the sleepover is my favorite part of hooking up with someone. And I came into it really kind of closed-minded, I think, because I was like, this is disingenuous or this is fake because it's like, why am I going to pretend that this guy that I just met is like my boyfriend for the night and like cuddle him and stuff like that. Anyways, cut to me like cuddling the shit out of him that night, having the best sleep, woke up in the morning, made him a coffee. His like head was on my shoulder while we were like making the coffee. I like gave him a kiss goodbye. Haven't seen him since. We don't speak and that's totally fine. And it was amazing and like completely set me on this path of like, so the album is called Something to Give Each Other. And I was like, oh, we all literally have something to give each other. Like, it doesn't matter if it is dancing on the dance floor with someone for like 2 seconds or with a big group of people or sharing this one night with someone or like a weekend or whatever. And it just kind of really changed my perspective on intimacy and yeah.
So funny because Esther Perel was on the podcast.
Slay.
Yeah, 2 episodes ago, and she was amazing, and she talked a lot about basically, actually her family is Holocaust survivors, and it's like the reason that she was so interested in like looking at sex and relationships is because she basically was like, my family faced mortality and devastation in a way that made them really interested in enjoying life to the fullest.
Wow.
And she's like, the joy that can, and the beauty and just the life that is in sex and relationships is so beautiful. And yet so many of us like don't enjoy them.
Yeah.
She sees people who are in marriages where they're miserable for like 20 years and, the deadness that kind of comes with that. And something I'm always thinking, what you just described was something I'm learning to appreciate too. Like it doesn't have to be a big, long relationship that's like super meaningful for it to not be just as beautiful as...
Totally. You can go hook up with someone in a bathroom at a party and be like, that was so passionate and amazing and beautiful, and walk away feeling as good about yourself as you did like before that experience, I
think it's something that queer culture has done really well, and I don't feel like straight women are good at it because
understandably so.
Yeah, because of the inherent risk for one thing, and like danger and whatever, but then also just like the power dynamic and feeling used and like all that stuff. And it's something I want to change like so badly for women, because I think, you know, I'm 32, I'm a mom, like I have my own money and my own life. So when I meet somebody, I'm not like, love me, you know what I mean? And it's really changed the way that I can enjoy sex and men because of that. And I just would love to see that more. And I'm like, how do we teach the girls to,
I mean, it's like, I also think I started to realize that sex is kind of like inherently hilarious to me. Like, I think, I don't know, it sort of just reminds me of like animals. And I think that kind of made it so much less serious. I'm like, this is hilarious that I want to do that to you.
So
that's
crazy.
what I want to do. Like, that is insane. But it makes total sense. I said that to
someone recently because I laughed when we were hooking up.
Yeah.
And they were like, what the fuck? You know? And I was like, sex is funny.
It's so funny.
Sex is funny. And they looked at me really stressed out.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, like this is funny in the same way that, again, like I think dancing can be funny.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy that you want to do this to me and I want to do this to you. It's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah. It's hilarious.
Also, like, we should just have fun.
Well, that's the other thing, is that it makes, like, made me way more like kink positive and stuff like that, because I'm like, oh, this is already ridiculous that I want to do that. So sure, let's go. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Totally. Are you looking for a relationship now or what?
I mean, definitely in like the long term for sure. I think, you know, my parents are married. They've been together for 33 years or something like that. And my older brother is 2 years older than me. He's married. He's about to have a kid. So like, it's definitely ingrained in me to I think have like a long relationship, and that's something that I want for myself. But at the same time, I'm really fine. So it's not a need.
Right.
It's like ooh, that would be nice kind of vibe.
So the album comes out in October, and I read that it's very a single kind of like, let's go out and party thing. Can you talk about what the album's like?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of like hope in it, you know, which I was quite surprised by, because I thought I was going to, you know, be writing all these really sad songs and stuff. And then kind of the complete opposite happened once I started to be filled with all of this like life. Also, COVID was happening while I was writing it. So it was like, we would have these little breaks of freedom in between lockdowns where I would just like let loose. And so
you were in Australia, right?
I was in Australia.
Which the lockdown was really intense.
Super intense. Yeah. Super, super intense. And so, yeah, I started to be much more inspired by that than like, you know, the sadness that I was feeling or had felt. But, you know, at the same time, like, I think people can think of like a party album and be like, oh, it's going to be kind of like shallow pop songs or whatever. But for me, the, you know, community and sex and dance music and partying, you know, the themes on this album were so meaningful and so rich and like euphoric, and you know, within that there's moments of vulnerability and still loneliness, you know, like that there is for sure, that is also on the album. And so yeah, I would like to think that it's a really kind of like rounded portrayal of everything that's been going on.
Well, it sounds like you're approaching the concepts of like partying and sex and whatever from a really like philosophical, existential standpoint about like how to live your life and find joy. Totally. Which means that it's not shallow.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love a shallow pop song. I really do.
Okay. Talk to me more about that.
I mean, I just think pop music is the coolest because I think, you know, you can, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm a songwriter. I just love seeing what people get up to, all the little tricks and things and whatever, you know, I'm like, slay.
Yeah, pop music is so interesting, like especially a shallow pop song, because you're like, wow, they really fucking nailed it.
Yeah, it works.
They got the marketplace cornered. They figured out exactly what we needed.
Yeah, and it's so difficult. Like if everyone could write a pop song that's like simple and straightforward and kind of like scratches that itch in millions and millions of people's brains, they would, and I would have a million times, you know?
Yeah.
And it's difficult. It's really, really difficult.
I was, it was a really big moment for me. I mean, I'm not a musician, but my parents listened to so much music. I listened to so much music. And, you know, I kind of like grew up in a little bit of a little snobbery around like my generation. Like I didn't listen to Britney Spears. I listened to some Britney Spears when I was really young, but like I wasn't somebody who listened to pop music a ton. And I was dating someone actually, and they were talking about like, just because something's popular doesn't mean that it isn't excellent.
Good. Yeah.
Actually, a lot of the times the things that are popular are actually just incredibly good.
Wow. And did you come around?
Yeah, I came around. It changed it for me completely.
Did you need to go and do like some research? Like, did you go back?
Totally. Like Taylor Swift is a great example for me. I know you know her and I've performed with her, and like I was not a Swiftie, and now I'm like, you know what that means? That means I was a misogynist, that I didn't like fuck with Taylor Swift, because I went to her concert and I was like, this person is an incredible songwriter, an incredible performer. And anybody who says anything else, like they have issues.
No, totally. She's a phenomenon.
And actually maybe not a very sophisticated palette, which is like a pretty crazy thing. I know a lot of people would like their jaws would drop, but I do think that's true.
I think so too.
If you don't like Taylor Swift, then like you don't understand things.
Right. Yeah, you just don't get it.
Yeah.
That's
100%. Okay, so let's talk about acting, because you are, I mean, kind of a triple threat. I saw you dancing.
Oh, that was my first time dancing ever.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
Like, I mean, I like move on stage and stuff, but first time doing choreo.
It looked hard.
It was, I mean, you
made
scary.
it look easy, but it seemed like a hard dance, which is why the shot is cool, because it's a long shot.
I didn't ever let myself dance because I was like, oh, then people will think I'm gay. And now I am gay. So now I can do it. And anyone can, obviously.
But didn't
like,
you come out? I mean, you came out pretty young.
I came out when I was 15, but like I still, when I came out, I had like weird hang-ups and like internalized homophobia still. Like I used to be obsessed with America's Next Top Model, and I would watch it in my room on my laptop instead of on the TV, even after I was out. Because I was like, I'm gay, but like I don't want my parents to think that I'm like
that.
Yeah, like that gay or something, you know? Which now, of course, makes zero sense to me. But at the time, it was just like the way my brain worked, I think. And
or maybe not even that gay, but like a stereotypical type of,
I didn't want them to think that, exactly. Like, I think I was trying to kind of ease them in, being like, because I remember even when I came out to my best friend, she was the first person I came out to, I was like, yeah, like I'm sexually attracted to guys, but like I would never date one, or like I can't imagine, you know. And now I recognize, of course, it was just like me, you know, trying to protect myself and kind of like getting in my own way. And over time, I've worked all of that out, I think. But yeah, so dancing was one of those things. For whatever reason, I thought it was really gay, and I didn't want to do it because of that.
Wow.
And
so would you dance at clubs or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but just like choreography has always really, and then even way after I got over that, it just like, then it was just a fear because I had never done it. And so this time was my first time doing it, and it was really fun.
Would you do more of it?
100%. Okay. And I want to like start I want to do a dancing class or something.
I actually really want to do it. My friend got me hip hop dance classes in COVID, and then like it obviously didn't, they shut down, whatever. Right. But we still have the voucher, and I'm like, we gotta go.
Okay, I'm sure you're a great dancer.
I'm actually kind of bad, but I love dancing. I really love dancing. I do it alone. I do it, like I dance a lot. But, and I don't really
think there's such a thing as bad.
I think I have a very particular way of moving my body. Yeah. Which like I'm okay with, you know, I think that's like the best type of dancing as somebody who's not super aware and trying to be perfect.
Totally.
But I'm definitely like a funny dancer.
What is it? Is it like,
it's a little wiggly.
Okay.
No, just like my moves are a little wiggly.
Okay.
Like a little disjointed. Even if I'm on rhythm and like whatever. I
always think about when I'm like dancing in a big group of people, everyone's skeletons, and it just like that removes the fear for me of like being embarrassed, because I'm like, again, this is kind of inherently hilarious and embarrassing that we're all like, there's music and we're all like
shaking our bones.
You know, it's just like so shaking our bones. Like, what the hell is going on? Like, this is so weird.
I just have to say one more thing that it made me laugh, because it has been in my literal 30s that I've discovered I like clubbing. Yeah. I hated it. When I was younger, it was partly because I was like, you know, often going as like a hot young girl who like was with creepy guys. I wasn't going to like cool places.
Right.
And so I just was like, I don't get it. Like, you just stand around in a dark room, drink and sweat and like kind of move around around. Like, fuck this. And then recently I've been like, I completely get it. It's a vibe. Go out with friends. It's the energy. Yeah. And now also I just like don't care as much. I don't feel as scared, I guess, basically.
Totally.
And I'm like, wow, I love it.
Yeah, for me, there's nothing better than, and I'm the same way. I hated clubbing, and I still like. I would much rather go to like a dive bar with a dance floor than like like a big club.
One Oak, yeah,
exactly. Like I've never been.
I'm not saying I like One Oak, to be clear. Yeah.
But for me, that feeling is like something that I actively strive for in my life now. Like the sweaty in a group of people, euphoric, close your eyes, listen to the music, like. That to me is just one of the best feelings in the world.
Do you find that in LA?
Not actually as much. I don't know if I'm like too, maybe LA I get too self-conscious or something like that. Or maybe I'm going to the wrong places, or I mean, house parties and stuff are fun. But I do feel like it's not a party city in the way that like Melbourne is, for example.
Right.
Like I definitely let loose a lot more when I'm in Australia.
Do you find yourself getting embarrassed about being famous with people? Because I have that when I'm like dating casually.
For sure. Yeah. Like
I'm
definitely.
like very embarrassed about it.
Yeah. I mean,
I like don't want to, even when I talk about it, I'm like, I want to be obviously honest about my life, but I cannot stand famous people or like, talk about, you know what I mean?
Totally.
So,
No, I think especially like for me in Melbourne, all I want is to just be like, I just think that, you know, I'm so in awe of like the city and the people. And I love Melbourne so much.
I need to go.
And I just want to be like, I just want to be able to enjoy the city and just, you know, date around, have friends, whatever. And for the most part, I think it's like very Australian to not make a fuss, and who cares anyway? Like as in, So people are really, really chill over there. But so I think there I feel a bit embarrassed about everything. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a weird thing. Because most people are like, that's so cool.
Yeah. That's kind of embarrassing though.
That's embarrassing. The whole thing is embarrassing.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh my God. When they play like a song of mine at a place when I'm there.
What do you do?
Leave. Like go to the bathroom at the very least.
Right. Just excuse yourself.
I am just so not that girl that's like, you know, wanting to go up in the DJ booth and be like, this is my song. Like that's so not my cup of tea.
I'm so glad to hear that. I'm happy for you. It means you're like an okay person.
Full disclosure though, I did it for Rush because we were, you know, like one of the first things I wanted to was to play it in clubs. And Trixie Mattel was DJing and she brought me up in the booth. And I was like, okay, I can pretend for like 30 seconds that I'm enjoying this. But
I mean, if it's like the first time your song was playing in a club, I think you're allowed to do that.
Yeah, but it's like, how mortifying is that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, it's self-promotion.
Right. That's the thing I'm really excited about. Like this year, I'm well aware that, you know, with everything coming out, it's sort of my job to like be okay with people talking about me and looking at me and actually like actively trying to kind of like keep people's attention. I'm okay with doing it for a bit, but I'm really looking forward to not.
Like privacy?
Yeah, to just like not having to worry about, you know, people numbers engaging and fucking like, did I make a TikTok, you know, in the last week and whatever, like all that stuff, like just being able to be like, okay.
It doesn't matter.
Nothing matters. Like that's really exciting.
It's such a weird thing, promotion and like also trying to be authentic.
Right.
And like, you know, knowing like, I want to be authentic, but also like it is an attention economy.
Right.
And your attention benefits my work.
Yeah.
So like, maybe I am a little bit of an attention whore. Like maybe that's part of my job. Okay. So there's this thing I like to do at the end of the show where I like do like rapid fire kind of questions. It's like fun. Are you into it?
I love it.
Social media pet peeves?
Social media pet peeves.
Like what gives you the ick on TikTok or Instagram?
I think it's all about like the caption for me.
Oh, yeah.
Like I want to feel that you're like funny to me. You know what I mean? And I think, sometimes that's tough. Like if I I actually try and not look at people's Instagrams when I first like meet them, especially if I think they're hot, because I'm like, I can get the ick really, really easy on Instagram. And I don't like that about myself.
Right. Like if somebody like puts the wrong emoji in their picture.
Yeah, or just like if it's just like if it's corny to me, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm sure I am so corny to so many people, so I get that, but far out. Yeah, it can put me off.
I feel that. I'm really straight men.
Yeah.
The way they represent themselves online.
Wow, that must be so tough.
It's so brutal.
That must be so tough.
I'm like, I wish, I think the joke is like that, you know, the ideal boyfriend doesn't have social media because like, there's no way you're doing it right.
Yeah.
No matter what you're doing.
What's interesting, in the last like couple of years, I've had a fair few experiences with straight boys or like people, you know, boys that identify as straight. And there's a song about it on the album.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because that was really weird. Like trying to psychoanalyze myself, being like, I think this is internalized homophobia. Why does this feel so validating to me? You know,
right.
I'm like, this person probably would have bullied me in high school. Why do I want to suck their dick? You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, sexual attraction and attention is validating, period.
Right. And then especially though, I think link it to like queer trauma and I think it becomes this whole other thing.
Who makes you starstruck? Like, has there been somebody that you've met and you've been like, holy shit?
Beyonce, for sure. Rihanna, for sure.
Yeah.
And then weirdly, like there's this interior designer that I love who I met, and I met her by surprise at this hotel that she had, her name is Ilsa Crawford, and she had designed this like hotel that I love. And I saw her at the hotel, and I think because I got a fright, I got really starstruck, and like I don't know. I just sounded like an idiot, I think.
Was she so excited? That probably never happens to her.
No.
Oh, she was like, yeah, of course you love me.
Yeah.
What turns you on?
Oh my God, so much. This is actually something I want to clear up. I feel like I wrote this one song called Bloom, right? And it's about bottoming. And the lyric is, I bloom just for you. And people took that and ran as like, I think in the sort of consciousness of gay people, I'm like some crazy power bottom or something, which is just not the case. And I just wanted to put that out there.
Is that annoying that you have to clarify that?
No, I mean, yeah, no, not really. Because like, I think sometimes just people are surprised maybe if like they go on a date with me or something like that. And I'm like, oh, by the way, like I'm not like a bottom. I think they are like, oh, but like, I mean,
it's just like a personal thing to have to like share with the, totally. I don't tell people if I'm a top or bottom.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like that's an interesting like thing to have to clear up.
Right. Yeah. I think it's become like part of my brand, and I'm down. Like, I think it's sick, but it's not the truth.
You're like, just to be clear.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong. I think like that's the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah.
But it's just not true. So it's okay.
Right. Well, it's maybe good that you're putting it out there just for future dates so that like, people know.
Yeah. Gay people watch this, right?
Yeah,
that's why I'm doing it. Because I'm like, let me just clear the record if you're going to hit me up.
PSA.
That's what's up.
It's not a bottom.
Yeah. I mean, not a full bottom.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Listen,
like, whatever. Sorry.
No, I'm saying you don't have to say whatever you want.
Right.
Great. We love that. Wait, but do you want to tell me what does turn you on?
Oh. I think... You know what I'm realizing? This is so like corny to say, but you know, I've had like a lot of sort of one-off hookups and stuff like that. And I'm realizing now that like my emotions are starting to come back for the first time, where I'm like starting to actually genuinely crush on people. That's the most like powerful shit of all. Like, I don't need to do anything crazy with you. I just need to like even just a kiss or, you know, something when there's like real passion involved. That I think is like the ultimate.
I mean, it is a drug. It's like there's chemicals
like
being released.
My brain is doing some like weird human shit.
Congrats that your feelings are coming back.
Thank you. I'm so happy.
Proud of you.
Thank you.
That's a big moment.
Are yours like dormant?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah,
by the way.
Like, it is. It's not bad. You know, I like feel things, but I think for me, a big part of like crushing on someone, there has to be, talk about like a lot of like hope.
Yeah.
And like a feeling of like future. And I just don't really, I'm in a very like, I just can't imagine who I'm going to like want to spend a lot of time with.
So you don't crush a lot?
I get like, No, I don't actually. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm like really, 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 it's like super seldom for me. Maybe in the last
like
3 years, like
switch.
Maybe 2 or 3 people I've actually been like, oh wow, I would like love to.
Yes.
Like I'm obsessed with that person. You know, obviously I feel like lust and attraction and even like intimacy and sweetness and fondness of them, but like a real crush, it's like super rare for me.
Yeah, I think for me, it's like, I mean, you've been in a lot of relationships, right?
2.
Okay, but 2 serious relationships. Yeah, so for me, I think it's like I'm either like there and like a little bit like crazy in love, or I'm not.
Right.
And I can, you know, but it's beautiful. There's also what we were talking about. Like I've learned to enjoy, you know, the in between.
Totally.
Which is just like, cool, you're a person. Like in the same way that there are friends that I don't necessarily want to like live with and see every day, but I love seeing them once a month.
Yep.
That's how I feel about guys that I'm dating.
And I think as long as you're like communicative, that's completely fine. You know what I mean? Like if I say to someone like, look, I'm not really, you know, like dating at the moment or whatever, because that was the case for a really long time, but I think you're super nice. I think you're super fun to hang out with. And I think you're really fun to hook up with. 9 times out of 10, they're like, sweet, that sounds really fun. And you end up with like this beautiful relationship that just is what it is, you know, and both parties are like, this is sick.
I don't know if that's true. I feel like, at least, I don't know if it's my experience or if it's a straight experience, but like that has not been true for me. It's led to complications. I'm always very honest.
Right.
But I think that sometimes people say that they're interested in that and then they're not actually.
Because they like fall in love with you.
That makes it sound like
but I mean, of course, that makes total sense.
They say like, I get it, and then they don't totally get it.
Yeah, and it gets complicated.
And like,
I'm
then
sure
it gets complicated. Especially, you know what it is? I don't want it to be like, oh, and then they fall in love with me. It's more you spend more time with somebody, and so naturally, like the relationship grows.
Yeah.
But yeah,
maybe I don't let it get far enough. Maybe I feel when that starts to happen, whether it's me getting feelings or them, and I think I've bailed because I haven't been ready, you know? So it's like maybe like hang out 4 times.
Okay, that's like a good maneuver. I need to. I've done that. I've done that a decent amount. Yeah, I think communication is everything. That's like how you remain ethical.
Totally.
And also just like it's better for everyone.
For sure.
Like your life will be better.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I was going to ask you a bunch more, but I think that's a good note to end on. Okay. So thank you.
Thank you so much. That was so fun.